Welcome to the mouth.
Manliness.
Brought to you
Manliness.
by me trying to be Billy Corgan. That's well doomy, isn't it?
That's nice though. Sounds amazing.
And by the Fender Jazzmaster. If Fender want to give me a Jazzmaster Troy Van Leeuwen, I want one.
I want one as well.
2 Fender Troy Van Leeuwens.
Send us Fender. Sender a Fender. Sender a Fender. Sender a Fender. Sender a Fender. Send us 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 a Fender. I mean, that was just off the cuff. Imagine if we actually wrote something.
I know. That was just... Have you seen Boogie Nights?
No, I haven't. No.
I have to say, I remember that when I saw Boogie Nights, I was proper blown away by it.
Yeah.
And have you seen Goodfellas?
Yeah.
Like Goodfellas is like probably one of the best gangster movies ever, really.
Yeah.
And I put it up there with like, you know,
Scarface,
Godfather, and all of those. And then I saw Boogie Nights, and the way it's filmed is really, really similar to Goodfellas. Like it tells a story. It's kind of quick. It's snappy. But there's a point in it where the Bostonian, Mark Wahlberg.
Right, yeah.
I believe he's from Boston. Hello to our Boston fellas.
Big up the Boston,
our Boston
massive.
friends. He and it's the guy from is it John C. Reilly? I'm thinking. He's sidekick. Basically, he becomes really successful. He's Dirk Diggler with a massive cock.
Right.
And he and the other bloke, which I'm sure is John C. Reilly, who plays is the voice in Wreck-It Ralph.
Is he
you
really?
Might have seen that
oh
with
yeah,
your
of course
kids.
he is. Snap. Yeah. I know exactly who you mean. Yeah.
And he's brilliant. He's brilliant in loads of good stuff.
Yeah.
And he's kind of a bit like Will Ferrell a little bit.
Yeah. Well, he
like,
done.
Just seems really big and dopey and
Did he
funny.
do Step Brothers with him?
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
he did. I know the one.
I watched that when I was in Disneyland.
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah.
And I'd seen it before. I've seen everything.
He's
before.
the sheep in Sing. Have you seen the film Sing? That's such a good film.
Yeah.
I love that film. It's one of my favourite films of all time.
And anyway, they basically just get well into cocaine, and they're both wearing like awful 80s leather. And
It's
things.
very Moorish.
Oh god, it is, yeah. And then they decided they're going to record an album, and it was pretty much like that.
Yeah.
But a little less drop the tuning doom.
Yeah, not as good.
Yeah, not as good guitar player.
No
way.
Definitely not. And I was Sterling on the vocals.
So we were like, so that just completely being balls to the wall honest. There was this bit of me that I was thinking, if we're successful with podcasts, and we'll be on TV in Boston.
Yes.
I'm like, could we ask for free guitars? Because basically all I want in life, like apart from family being well,
Yep.
all I want in life is guitars.
Yeah.
All I want.
So, I mean, this doesn't have to stop at guitar. Like, so potentially, I don't know what the rules are, whether we should even be speaking about this, but like, people get free stuff, right?
What do you want, Brad?
Well,
hold on. Before you go to that,
what I can ask.
Before you go to that, and
Right,
like, please, let me have this for a moment.
Okay.
We've spent some time, like some of the podcasts that we've done already, and by the time this comes out, if it does come out in Boston, we've already done a couple.
Yes.
And some, like my nickname is Nick Noise.
Nick Noise.
I'm quite pleased with that. As a guitar player, it suits me.
It's epic.
And then we were trying to think up one of Brad. And it was Bad Brad. And
That's not very good.
I thought Bradley Bear I liked.
Bradley Bear is my nickname at work.
I like that. because you're big, but you're also very lovely.
Yeah, but I can be fiercely aggressive,
Can you?
and I can maul a man with my bare hands.
Fucking hell.
I can't.
So
I might be
thought,
able to. I've never
Bradley
tried.
Bear was really nice because I'm like, why do we don't need to have tough names, do we?
Yeah, I feel like I do.
But then my mate, who I went to art school with, he put I did put you into it, but like that was Tuesday when we were getting fucking hundreds of messages.
Yeah.
And he was like, he
those,
just
by the
put
way.
rock star name, Brad Action.
Yeah, because my second name is Acton, right?
And I thought, Brad Action.
Yeah, why not?
And I just thought that's the best name.
Yeah, because all we have to do is add an I into the
Brad
into
Action.
everything. All right. Yeah.
And I just thought that's fucking brilliant. That is perfect.
Nick Noise and Brad Action sound like a fucking superhero
so I
duo.
Feel like that is completely a contender. I can't think of anything better.
No, I'm all over that.
And
Why haven't
my mate Steve? That was genius. I just thought, why haven't we thought of that
Yeah,
ourselves?
yeah, 100%.
Brad Action.
Yeah, I'll take that. Thank you. What's his name?
I'm trying to think what his surname is.
Action.
Steve. I'm sure it's
Erwin
Wald.
Wahlberg.
When I was at university, everyone I was there with, like, there was a lot of really middle class kids, and I'm not. I really don't think I'm middle class, but to some people, I probably am. I don't really think about class particularly, but it is relevant in England.
Yeah, it seems to work.
In England, class does.
Well, it doesn't work, but
it
people
doesn't
adhere
work,
to it.
but it still happens.
You can see it.
But there was this one guy, Steve. One time, right? He always looked really indie, but he always looked fucking cool. He always looked really cool, and he would always had quite a nice girlfriend with him. He was a really nice, but he was a lovely, lovely man. And one time I suggested, oh, we could all have a little, like, oh, you play guitar, cool. My mate Chris Kent, who I'm still close with, he played bass really, really well. And another guy, Sonny Woodhead, he played keyboards. And I was like, well, let's all get together around my house and we'll jam.
Mm.
And Steve, it's very rarely in life I'm like kind of blown away. For starters, he was amazing on guitar, and he brought round, which would now be a collectible guitar, like kind of like weird Japanese guitar. But I thought everyone came around together, but I don't know if they did, because when we left, Chris had a car, he drove a couple of people home, and then Steve was still there, and he had his guitar on like a rucksack thing. Like, I've got one, and they're really, really helpful.
Yeah, definitely.
And like a little practice amp.
Yeah.
And he went, no, that's all right, I'm going to run home.
What?
And then, like, it was probably like half-hour walk.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're going to run home? He's like, yeah. And he just left the house, and I saw him run up the street, and he ran home.
That's brilliant.
And like he was like fighting fit, but he wasn't like, I don't think he'd done like worked out or anything.
How old are we talking? Like, this is
like,
not last week, is it?
No, we were like 19 or something.
Yeah.
And he ran home.
I used to walk a lot. Like, people used to call me Forrest Gump because I would always walk everywhere.
I never walk. I fucking hate walking.
I love walking. I love it.
I never walk anywhere.
Yeah, I would walk from city to city, town to town. Doesn't bother me at all. I love it when the tubes stop working because I have to walk. And you see stuff that you never normally see.
That's quite nice when you walk in the city.
Yeah.
Like, that's quite interesting. But
I don't get me wrong, walking like down the M25 is rubbish. Yeah. The closest I got to that was walking home from the Millennium Dome because I fell out with all of my friends.
At the Millennium Dome?
Yeah, stole one of their cars, drove it around the car park, jumped out through the keys at them, walked back through the Blackwall Tunnel, walked all the way down the road, and my feet were bleeding, so I had to take my shoes off. And in the end, I just rung one of them up and said, oh, sorry, I was a cunt. Can one of you come pick me up because I can't walk anymore?
So to give us some... it was funny when Aldous from Boston rang the other day. And I said, yeah, I'm at Legoland in Windsor. And he was like, where's that? And I went, well, it's kind of just outside London. It's not far outside London. And he was like, I thought you lived here, right, in Boston.
Wow.
I was like, no. Like, you could probably tell by my accent that I've got quite a thick accent. Really.
Across the keyboard?
Yeah, well, once we spoke.
All right, yeah, cool.
So I live kind of outside London.
Yeah.
But for anyone listening in anywhere else in the world who doesn't actually know Brad and I, and the lovely thing is, I think people that are listening don't know us. We looked on the Acast thing. We have listeners in Australia. I think they're the people, like the two people I know.
Right, okay.
But there was quite a few in North and South America.
I'm going to have a look because every time I look on there, it changes and it fascinates me.
But either way, they were like North and South America. If you don't know, we are in, as Brad named it, which I love, we are in Nick's Cave. I'm a massive Nick Cave fan.
Yeah.
And I've got a Nick Cave tattoo, which I will show. Oh, look, there's my Morrissey. And there's my Nick Cave. Both I did to myself.
That's so good.
Brad named it Nick's Cave. So we're basically in my den.
Yeah, because it's like a man cave. You like Nick Cave. The Nick Cave.
Perfect.
Sense.
And we're about, if there's no traffic, we're about 20 minutes away from London.
Yeah, at night.
Yeah, no traffic, we're really close to London. But it takes us about half an hour to get into London on the train. If people are wondering where we are, that's where we are.
So yeah, I'm just looking at here. We've got... I'm not going to say the numbers because we're going to have like a nice sort of like surprise number release. But yeah, we've had listeners in UK, obviously, United States, Australia, Canada, France.
Was there South America?
I can break it down into actual cities.
'Cause I love a bit of South America. Morris is big in South America.
So in America, people are listening in Cambridge, Minneapolis, Archibald, and Rockland.
Minneapolis, Prince.
I think he's dead, mate. But if he wasn't, he would probably listen to this.
My first gig.
3 in Canada. One in Ireland. Brazil, we have 1 listener.
Hello to our listener in Brazil.
Hello.
Big up and respect to you.
Yes.
But I find that pretty mind-blowing.
That's probably one of our friends on holiday.
I still find it pretty mind-blowing that people in other countries are listening to us.
It blows my mind that anyone's listening to it.
I know, and quite a lot of people are listening to it. Not to
discredit us, but I just think, like, I don't know.
Because who the fuck are we?
We're just us, aren't we?
We're a pair of insecure idiots who have lots of problems, and we have decided that we're not going to let those problems take hold of us anymore, and we're going to talk about it.
Yeah,
like that's me summed up, really. That's why I'm here.
Just saying, like a minute ago, like it almost feels like we're cheating because it's effortless to do. We've not got any kind of agenda. I don't know what I'm going to say next in a minute, and it seems odd that. Well, it doesn't seem odd that people would want to listen to it. I'm really pleased that people are listening to it. But like, it's like this is how we've always spoken. Like I've said before, when you've tattooed me, that's an episode. It's just like us talking like this, and we just talk how we go, and you say, right, this is this, and that's that, and everything else, and it's just like we just get on so well. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I think I once went to this. I don't know what it was. But my mum works for a mental health organisation, and she said the organisation paid for people to go to this conference talk thing in London. So I went there with some other workers from there, and I was really not up for it. But when we got there, they talked a lot about a synchronicity, and a synchronicity being that things, I suppose. It's kind of like things happen for a reason, and the way that life throws things at you, and then something else happens as a result, and then something else happens as a result, almost like it was meant to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
And since we've been doing this together, we've had loads of good responses, and that aside, just the experience of like hanging out with you and talking with you, like that's enough for me.
Yeah.
And it feels totally right, and it feels so natural
Yeah.
that it just feels like it's something we were meant to do. I
Yeah.
think we were meant to be friends.
Yeah.
Because I think about it really, like before this, we probably only saw each other like 4 times, and we probably only had lots of conversations.
No,
Really,
but it's funny. I feel
we
like,
bonded really quickly
yeah, I
though.
feel like we were always still in each other's, like, obviously through social media and stuff like that, and the odd text here and there and everything else. But yeah, it's always felt just like solid from the get go. Like, yeah,
Yeah, like,
this is this, and then that's whatever happens kind of thing.
but
It's
I've
really,
loved it. Even like now, we're kind of contact most days,
yeah,
and it's really lovely.
yeah,
It really feels like something, like meeting a new best friend, and that's
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
what this is
yeah,
really.
definitely, yeah,
And just having lots of conversations and like, oh, did you see that? Did you
yeah,
see that? And I guess in many ways, I haven't had that for a long time.
no,
I kind of had it with my mate John Halsley. My friend in London I do music with.
yeah,
Well, we've been friends for about 3 years, and we bonded really quick. And so I've kind of had it with him, and that happened at the period of my wife's cancer and all. So
wow,
it was really good. But the good thing about that and this really is that like we don't expect anything of each other.
no, not at all.
So it's just like everything that happens is kind of nice and good.
Yeah,
So
and
it's
like
pretty special.
even on like not a technical level, but like you've done a bit of artwork. Should we use this? And I'm like, yeah, like it's perfect. It's exactly,
It's like, yeah, sorry,
yeah.
it's like, well, that makes
We'll
sense.
use that. Oh, I've just put this. I've sent this video over. Yeah, I love that. That's perfect. Yeah, we'll do that. Like, there's no, like, there's not been a point. I'm almost scared that we might get to a point where I have to go, fucking hell, Nick, what were you thinking? Like, that's dog shit. But I like to think, I'd never put it like that because I'm not an arsehole. But I like to think if I did say, oh, yeah, I really like this and that, but I'm not too sure about that and that, then you'd receive it, like, well enough.
Yeah,
Like,
cool.
if, because it's in our interest to obviously get it right and it all to, like, us to both be on board with it kind of
But I
thing.
think
But
that's the other interesting thing about what we're doing, because it's also, it's not just like this overarching aim to try and get men to like. I put it on Facebook and Instagram and all the socials about this overarching aim to try and get men to talk.
yeah,
But within that, there's us becoming close.
yeah.
Oh God, no, men can't be close.
No, of course
Like I just
Yeah.
find like the whole thing is just fascinating.
Yeah.
But it feels really good.
Oh, definitely.
I'm like, what's wrong with that? Why not
No.
feel good about it?
Yeah.
Why can't men like have open, close friendships?
Yeah.
It's funny, like I was talking about Cara I worked with, is from Boston. Hello, Boston.
How?
And I was talking about that, and I've had some friends at work, and they're invariably women. But I kind of feel really proud that I've been able to build friendships with them, and it's never become like pervy or a sexual thing.
No.
Like we've become really good friends, and I'm
Yeah.
like, and I imagine everyone else in the office is thinking, oh, they're gonna have an affair, and I'm kind of like, no, we're not.
Nah.
We're not gonna have an
No.
affair because I would never cheat on my wife.
That makes those friendships even more special.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
And it's like, what's wrong with that? Why can't you have a friendship with a woman without it having to become sexual?
Yeah.
Of course you
Especially
can.
when you're in an office. I think like
Like the politics.
Oh yeah. Oh mate, it's dreadful. But I actively encourage stuff that like is against like the zeitgeist and stuff. And I think like if like I love defending like women's rights, and I love it when you see that someone's done something that's like a little fuck you to like whatever's normal.
Oh yeah.
And like that especially, like if you can have those friendships, and even more so if you're in an office where everyone's like, oh, like that's a bit sort of odd, or they don't quite have it's all like whispers and everything else. That
So
would
much
make me
gossip
want to
and
do that
whispers.
even more. Like
Yeah.
make me force that kind of thing to happen even more. But yeah, I think it's easier to have friendships with women, I think, if you're definitely sort of secure within yourself, but in a secure relationship as well. Obviously, it's difficult when you're in a relationship and things like that come up, and then there's jealousy and stuff like that, which I've had myself, and I've been in that kind of area with it all. But then you find that with all friendships, it's all fluid and everything sort of changes and moves on anyway. So it kind of naturally progresses to how it is. But to be fair, as we've like touched on before, we've all got a priority list and sort of everyone's on it, like I mentioned. I never get to the point where I can just sort of sit and go, oh, I know what, I'm going to ring Nick up and I'm going to say, let's go for a beer. Because all of my time is it's all diarised. Like tomorrow we're doing something.
I still have
Saturday
to do that.
we're doing this. Sunday we're doing this kind of thing. So what's been quite nice with the podcast is that our Thursdays, or every other Thursdays, are like our kind of days where it kind of, not in any way to belittle it, but we're kind of doing a little bit of music stuff, friend stuff. I'm having a drink. We're talking, and it's like that. It's that kind of.
It's time set
encapsulates
aside
that.
to
Yeah,
just do that.
yeah,
And then within that, we're also becoming really good friends.
yeah,
and,
totally.
Like knowing each other.
Yeah, and doing
Yeah.
something that we love and
So
we're
it's-
passionate about.
It's funny because like Thursday night is like there's nights of the week when my kids are doing things. Like my wife normally works later on one night,
Mhm.
and then the weekends are normally always very precious.
Yeah.
So Thursday night has always been my night. So like Thursday nights, like I'm a tattoo artist, so Thursday nights.
Inked me, that.
Yeah.
I love my tattoos. So.
Well, there you go. Yeah, your tattoos came out really, really well. Well, yeah, I did that. So like Thursday nights was always my tattoo night, but then I just found tattooing wasn't giving me what I needed. And then I thought, well, I'd rather, like, what else could I do? So then it was like, well, could we do this? And then, so basically every other Thursday night we do 2 episodes. So that makes us do our weekly. So it works out.
Yeah, works out.
But then it's
really
like, well, that's the time I do that. And then when you set that rule, and then it pretty much follows.
Yeah,
So
that's the thing. Like it has just flowed. Like it's gone so naturally. Like it's been fairly effortless. Yeah, it's just, I can't say it enough. Really, it's just fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty magic. This podcast has really given me. Like I haven't felt really miserable since we started.
No.
Because every time I feel a bit miserable, it's like, well, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
And I've been putting things on like the socials, kind of like I might put a picture of a guitar and say, there was a time in my life when the guitar saved my life. You know, it gave me that something else when I'm doing a shitty job or I'm working in the kitchen. It's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
But I know tonight I'm playing a gig. And the guitar gave me the gig.
Yeah.
And so I try and kind of tell people that that's what it's all about.
Yeah, holding on to those little specks of light.
You can get through the day if there's something else.
Yeah, totally.
Sorry, I interrupted. Right. So we were kind of getting a bit ahead of ourselves thinking, wouldn't it be brilliant if we got sponsored by Gibson?
Yeah. Or Fender.
Or I'm a complete guitar geek, so I would love to get sponsored by like
Orange Amps.
Yeah, I do like Orange Amps. Any guitar company, like
I feel like we're not allowed to do this. It almost feels like an odd privilege. Surely we can't ask.
We can do whatever we like.
Well, I want t-shirts.
Yeah.
I really like. I put a plain t-shirt on because I was worried that like the t-shirts I was looking at might be advertising stuff and stuff like that. But yeah, I think like if anyone's got a clothing company that they want exposure for, then I will happily wear all their clothes.
But it'd be cool if it was like a boutique, like like a small brand who are making something interesting.
Yeah.
And like they might go, yeah, I think we might have something that would be really cool.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, yeah, I'll wear it then.
Yeah.
And we'll wear them on here.
I will. Caps. I love caps. especially like on bad hair days, like this. I put this on for people in Boston.
Yeah.
I didn't really. Again, that's a generalisation. Not all
All I'm
Americans.
interested in is guitars, pedals, so ZVEX, or what's the other company? Earthquaker devices.
Oh wow, yeah.
Or Gibson or Revolta. I just got a Revolta guitar, which I adore. Anything from Dennis Fano.
You got a list, didn't you? You thought about this.
You know what? When I go to bed, I think about things like this.
Yeah.
And what it is, to kind of come back to the topic of our podcast, very much, it's about hope.
Yeah.
I just think it's that simple thing about hope. And it is, like, hope is so scarce. And kind of my hope, I think my only hope, really, all this other stuff is superfluous, really. You know, like, I've got everything I need. My only hope, really, is that people listen and they like it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, I think really
But I kind of need to know people like it, though, I think.
Me too. You kind of don't want to say it, but the feedback and seeing that people actually like it and the comments, like if you haven't commented or left any feedback or given us 5 stars on iTunes or whatever, then do it, because that like is almost like we're not looking for validation.
No, but I think
it does.
I think the thing is, you say we're not looking for it, we are.
Yeah, I am.
Because basically in life, everyone needs validation.
Yeah.
And most people's validation is money.
Yeah.
And for me, I've got a comfortable house. I don't need anything.
It's lovely.
Like in reality, I don't need anything.
No.
But I suppose all I ever really want is validation. And that takes me right back to the fact that my dad didn't give me validation.
Yeah.
And so money and things, now I've learned like more and more as the years have gone by that things don't validate me. So like I wanted all the guitars.
Yeah.
So whenever I had any excess money, I'd put it away and I'd buy a guitar that I always wanted. And that would make me feel good for a bit. But it didn't meet my needs.
No.
Whereas I find doing this meets my needs much more.
Yeah.
So it's more about that kind of emotional validation.
Yeah.
And I think that's a universal truth. I think everyone thinks that money will meet their needs.
No, that's it.
So like you earn fucking loads of money, you buy a massive house,
Yeah.
and you meet the social norm. You have your children, like you're all wealthy, you've got a Range Rover, you've met your social expectation.
Now
and
what?
then you go, I'm lost.
Yeah.
I'm fucking lost. And I think like that is a much bigger thing. So like I was thinking, if people in America are listening to this, I was thinking, how are we going to be relevant to them? And then I just came to the conclusion, whilst cooking my kids' dinner, is that we're talking about bigger truths. These are bigger truths than that. We really are talking about the basic fucking needs.
Yeah.
And those needs go across the world. So when I was saying about, are you meeting the need of like clothing and feeding your children, like that's your first job.
Yeah.
Then after that, like it's like, well, what do I need? And the reality of it is that money doesn't meet your need.
No, it really doesn't.
Like it helps.
Yeah.
It makes things better. It gives you what you want.
Yeah, it takes care of a lot of other things, so you can then sort of get to a stage where you're like, oh, what is going on?
But like I'm not rich, but I don't need for anything.
No.
And I'm actually fairly happy. But then I just kind of thought, actually, but I'm still a fucking mess. I'm still ill. I'm still struggling with life. And then I realised that it's not about that.
No.
Like, the problem is internal. It's an internal need.
It's
It's
really
not an
easy.
exterior thing at
It's
all.
always easy to look externally because
It's an external's
that's
bullshit.
the direction that you look in, and you've got people around you that seem to be adhering to social norms of like, oh, this is what you do, or you do this, or you don't do this.
Social media makes so much
Oh,
worse.
totally, yeah, so much worse.
But I think like we all think we need this and we need that.
Yeah.
But I think I really kind of don't like to come back to, like, I don't like, before we came on this, we started getting on in terms of spirituality.
Yeah.
And I almost think that's probably the answer. I struggle with it majorly because I'm a massive cynic and I live in my head.
That's probably as well because of all of the iconography of it and what it is, and if you label it, you know, religion or something like in that regards.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
But I think if you close your eyes and breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth for like a couple of minutes, that's the most spiritual you can feel on your own straight away. And there's no other entity, no God or anything else. That's almost like, I consider that to be connecting with like everything around me.
I agree.
But it doesn't have to be like this whole sort of thing of like go and get a mat or go to church or anything else.
Anything like that.
It's what you want it to be.
The inner you.
Yeah.
It's about you being at peace with where you are and what you've got.
I was talking to a mate last night, who's in a really bad way, and we were saying like it's the shittest answer to anything, but it really is you. It's inside you. The answers that you're looking for to everything are inside, and it's just altering the outside effects of everyone else and everything else around you, and just going within and having a really good thought of like, you know, why am I thinking this way? What am I actually thinking? Why am I actually saying these words? Like, what is going on? And just giving yourself that time to kind of process that. That's the same line of thought and process that people give to religion, but they would, I've labelled it their religion, but like their God or whatever they can assume to be their God or the universe or anything else.
It's those universal questions.
You pray or you reach out to God, or like if you reach out to cosmos or the universe and stuff like that, you're asking questions. I suppose it's a fundamental human thing to sort of question everything, but I think maybe people have stopped questioning themselves enough because they can see validation in other things.
I think like as a culture, it comes back to culture. Like our culture, like we think we're the developed nations, and then you look at the underdeveloped nations. You know, like when they find a tribe in Africa who they've never found.
Yeah,
and they're actually
pointing at airplanes and stuff.
Happy,
yeah,
because actually they've found something inside themselves, and you know they've accepted what's around them.
Yeah,
and they realise that actually they don't need anything.
No,
actually everything we need is in our hands.
I'd be interested though to know whether like they are sitting there going, "Oh, fucking look, there's Craig again with his red loincloth. Like, why can't he have like a brown one like the rest of us? Like, fuck you."
Like, as much as I don't like Mr. Ashcroft's solo output, well, most of it, he did an album called The Human Condition, and that term really resonated with me because I think this is the human condition, is they always got more, I want it. So, you know.
Is it a human condition or like a result of commercial conditioning over the years?
Yeah, well, I don't know, because you said, you know, like if you were like in a tribe out in the middle of nowhere and no one had TV or anything, so they wouldn't have that. But then they are probably thinking, oh, look, Buster's he's got a really smashing loincloth. I want one.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're going to see that as some sort of wonder or advancement or something that's going to hide your cock.
Which I would think is a human condition.
Yeah.
Like he's got something better than me.
That's a fascinating point, yeah.
So I don't know the answer to that.
No.
But I do know is that this kind of the want and need, and as far as money goes, and belongings that come with money, I think that's all bullshit.
Yeah. I think it comes with age as well. When you see, I noticed the first time we moved, and all the stuff that we bought when we were first together had broken by the time we'd moved into our second house, and it was such a big thing that we had all this stuff. And then as you're going along and you're throwing stuff away, and you think, I'm not going to buy that anymore because it just breaks, and we don't need one of them, we don't need that, and you start to shed away this sort of like, why did we get that in the first place? Don't need this, don't need that, and you think like, fucking hell, we don't need anything. It's just it's just our.
I had a weird moment when like when my wife and I, like, we bought this house. It was 3-bed semi, pretty much what my parents had. And I was like, well, I fucking trumped my dad.
Yeah.
And like, I was always angry with my dad, and I felt I trumped him. And then like, we had another kid, and then you just get caught up in the trouble of having kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, then I went up another level at work, and I'm like, I've done it. So what do I do now?
Yeah.
And then it was like, a rattle of guilt in my brain will tell me I'm shit. There's someone messaged the other day and said about your brain being a bastard, and she was like, I feel that as well.
Mm.
And it was like, you've got everything you need, but your brain's telling you that's not good enough.
No.
Because your brain is going, you need more.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't need any more.
No.
Don't need any more. And it's just fucking madness.
Yeah, you can manage with what you've got tenfold. We're more than lucky enough in this country and in a lot of other countries.
So it's kind of putting back to the stuff that Russell Brand was saying about just the acceptance, and my time with my hypnotherapist Peter, just saying like, just be like that. He's not saying be grateful. He's saying try and be grateful.
Yeah.
Just try and be grateful and accept things that you can't change.
Yeah.
And try and be grateful for what you've got.
I struggle with it.
And it is a shift in mindset.
I really believe that is the answer to most problems in people's lives.
I think so.
If you can, like, literally open your eyes and go, fuck, my eyes just opened.
And I know what happens is that when you're in crisis, when your life is in crisis, those are the times when you can't do that.
Mm. Those
are the points when you're like, so if someone goes, "Oh, be grateful," like if someone's listening to this and they're having an awful time, and I'm here saying, "Try and be grateful," and you're thinking, "Oh, fuck off."
Yeah, fuck you. My job's
shit. I totally get that. I totally understand that because I'm not saying it as someone who hasn't been through it.
No.
Like I've been through it. Like we've both been through terror.
Oh, mate, yeah.
And it's not like we don't know that. But essentially, there's kind of overarching truths that do give your brain some peace.
Yeah.
I wanted to come back to a couple of things that was said. So someone said on Facebook, someone I know, Tian, who is probably one of the best guitar players I've ever seen.
Nice.
And I hope he listens to this because I rate him and he's amazing. And he's got better guitars than me, which is quite upsetting. And he mentioned about having he'd gone through a bad experience. He'd had therapy, and all he took from the therapy was that you have to get back on the horse.
Mm.
And he said it was a really negative experience. It made him feel shit. But the positive was that you have to get back on the horse.
Yeah.
And as crap as that is, and as crass as that is,
it's so basic. It sounds like it couldn't be true, but it really is.
It is true.
It's just taking a forward step in some kind of direction.
Yeah.
And again, I was literally saying this to my mate James yesterday. I love him so much. He's in a bit of a bad way, and I hope he's okay. But I was saying this exact same thing. Everything is collapsing around you. Relationships, friendships, work, you fall out of any kind of social kind of groups because you think, right, fuck TV and fuck
You
Facebook
just
and
become insular.
fuck everything, yeah.
And your brain takes over.
It just swarms, like it's like a whirlwind.
Yeah.
But if you can just step out of that 1 foot, like I always say, like 20 seconds of confidence, like that one little bit of direction of like, no, I'm going to go to the cinema on my own and watch a film. Or, no, do you know what? I'm going to go to the library and find a book on crocheting or something in a different direction, and I'm just going to do that. Or just think, no, I'm just going to pick up the phone and just ring someone I haven't spoken to for ages. Like we said, that 20 seconds of confidence just to get over the fear. Not that it's fear, but like...
But the
just,
one thing that's holding you back, like your brain's telling you, no one gives a fuck about you.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, I'm just going to ring my mum or my mate, and then they go, oh, you're all right.
Yeah.
And then you go, blah. And then suddenly you feel better.
Yeah. Just for, like, again, you need to be grateful for having that connection, even regardless of what's said. It doesn't even have to make sense. Like, it can be all fucking discombobulated and crying and tears. They might not even say a word or answer the whole time, but like even taking it a few steps back and thinking, okay, now I'm really grateful to have you to talk to.
It's like, thank fuck for that.
Yeah.
Don't you find that? What I find all the time is that saying it aloud to another person, it all suddenly starts to make a little bit more sense.
I've found sometimes saying it aloud, how silly it sounds back. I can then laugh at myself and think, fucking hell, like that was like at the forefront of my head.
And
I was going nuts
simple.
about that. And now I've said it, I sound like a proper cunt, but it's just the process. And then you're like, oh, it almost like it squashes it, or it kind of regulates it.
It gives it less power.
Yeah, that's it.
By saying it out loud, suddenly it's got less power.
Yeah.
So what I don't want to lose what I don't want to lose what Tina said about therapy.
No.
My response to him really was well, you can't. Well, you got something. But secondly, is that we see therapy as a panacea. Like, you almost go into therapy thinking, well, they're going to make it all better.
Yeah, like a cure.
But therapy isn't like going to the doctors and then giving you pills.
No.
All therapy does is guide you to get there yourself.
Yeah, I see it as like giving you the tools.
Yeah.
Or like giving you the opportunity to explore the thoughts and being given the tools to say, even like to question your own thoughts.
Yeah.
Like it's odd. Like I feel privileged that I kind of think like that. I'm sure you were saying the other day, like you were concerned about the kids almost becoming like depressives or anything else. Not to that extreme, but I said like for the kids to be questioning their thoughts and stuff like that, it can be seen as a positive thing as well. Obviously, it can sort of eat away at you and everything else, but like I feel like we are at a luxury that we do come away from conversations second guessing and think, oh fucking hell, should I have said this? Shouldn't I have said that? Maybe I should have said that. That's a good thing. Like self-regulating, and it means you're aware of. I mean, everything can you need balance. It needs to be.
You can ask
can't
those
go all the way.
questions,
Yeah,
and that's kind of why this podcast is important, because you can walk away from a situation, you can think all these things to yourself, but you can actually go back and go, I've just thought about that. I was all right about that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, I hope I haven't upset you.
Yeah.
You know, like, this is what I've taken from it.
Yeah.
And the reality is you can have those fucking conversations.
It's funny. This happened to me twice. It didn't happen to me, but I see it happen twice today. I've been working in a hospital, major incident unit, and there's a lot of. I mean, I've seen some horrors this week. I've seen like stacks of dead people. It's like crazy, but
I love all that kind of
mate, it's mental, mate. It's so mad. But there was this one guy in A&E, and I don't know whether he was waiting to be seen or whatever, but he was irate. I think he was having trouble understanding like the person behind the counter. and the doctors and stuff like that. And I think he was obviously frustrated with whatever has happened to him and everything else. There was obviously some confusion. He was getting a little bit heated and angry. And then he was like, you're not being clear in the answers you're giving me. It was something to do with like the time. The doctor said, if you go up there before 12, everything will be fine. And the guy's like saying, what, at 12? And he's saying, no, like just any time before 12. It's like, well, you're not being clear. Like, tell me a time. And it kind of got a little bit heated kind of thing. And I thought, like, this is going to kick off here. And I've got like tools and stuff around. So I'm aware that I need to like move stuff to the side. I'm kind of like bracing myself for it all. And he like was really shouting, really angry, like in this guy's face. And then it all like got sorted out and come to fruition. And I thought, I wonder how this is going to play out. And he come back out and he went, I'm really sorry I was angry like that earlier.
I'm scared.
I was just a bit caught up in everything I was doing. I didn't quite understand you. I'm sorry about that. But I'm just really sorry. And the guy went, that's fine. Like, no problems. And I thought, I did not expect that.
What a proper man.
Yeah, I did not expect, and I completely judged him.
Decent person.
Like, I didn't want to say, like, he was kind of, like, all right, I'll judge him now. So he's like a bigger guy, like shaved head. I think...
He thought he was like a brute.
Yeah, but then I think he obviously had some kind of like, I really don't want to come across as judging, but he definitely didn't understand what was going on around him kind of thing. Maybe that was why he was at the hospital, I don't know, but he wasn't quite coherent almost. And maybe that was frustrating him. But yeah, I thought, like, here we go, it's going to kick off. And it really did, like, it looked like it was going to for a second.
You let it play out.
Yeah.
Because, like, he understood and then he apologised.
Yeah, but then literally...
And you're like, that's cool, that's fine.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
No. And if, like...
It didn't escalate to the point that we couldn't come back from it.
But I've seen that before, and normally they go, "Oh, thank you," and they'll just walk off or whatever. But like, to turn around and apologise, I feel that's a real way forward for all humankind.
I
genuinely, I really do. And I was like, man, that's really cool. In exactly the same room, within 10 minutes, there was a guy. Again, I was quite worried because he was hovering nearby. I've worked in a lot of places where people have been like locked down and sectioned and everything else. I've heard stories of like people working in those places and having screwdrivers nicked and stabbed in the neck and everything. So I'm kind of, I'm not scared. I don't judge anyone, but I'm
conscious,
aware. And there was this one guy that's really hovering around. It was supposed to be on his hospital bed. But he was standing by the counter. Then he's standing next to me. And I mean like 3 foot away from me, watching what I'm doing. Then he's standing at the office, watching them in the office. Then he's standing at the desk. Then he's standing at the thing. And he's making people feel really uncomfortable. And I'm trying to sort of crack on with what I'm doing. And then he sort of come up to the desk and said, I'm waiting for my medication. The guy's like, right, yeah, no worries, we'll sort it out. Not really sort of... kind of palming him off a little bit.
Yeah, not really.
And then he walked all the way around to this other side. I see him walk past the glass partition to this other office. He said, I'm waiting for my medication. He's like, all right, yeah, no problem. So we'll sort it out. And he went somewhere else. I'm waiting for my medication. And they sorted him out. And one person come out and said, I'm really sorry. There's been a mix-up, but like we'll get you sorted out kind of thing. And he then turned around and said, I'm really sorry for earlier. I was out of order. And they'd obviously had an outburst that I hadn't seen. And he was like, I'm sorry, I was a bit sort of crazy earlier. And the woman was like, it's fine. Like, it was kind of, it was our mistake kind of thing. Don't worry about it. Like, I appreciate your apology. All within like this 10-minute window of me being at this like kind of front desk.
How often do people do things like that?
No, and that's what I'm saying. It's fascinating.
It escalates to a point that they can't then say that they can't go back. And then like that masculine pride comes in and you're like, you can't go back and say, I'm really sorry about that.
No.
Or like they ends up into a fight or something like that. And like, at that point,
maybe that's the fear of it. The fear of going over, letting your guard down and saying, I was a bit of a cunt then. I'm really sorry. The fear of them going, I've done it. And they're going to kind of attack back. But I don't think so. From like what I've seen lately, people are just up for saying, my bad. Like, I'm really sorry. Like,
do you know what? Some of that comes back to is that power imbalance.
Yeah.
Like if you're institutionalized or if you're in the hospital, you're basically at the hands of everyone
You're the patient.
else.
Yeah, of course.
So what happens is like when you get palmed off, and you get, I think what we have to get into our heads is that you're not just getting palmed off.
No.
These people are busy.
There's another 100 people on that
There's
wall.
another 100 people outside the other door who
Yeah.
are dying.
Yeah.
So, like, you shouldn't get shitty for no reason. But
No.
if you're being really palmed off, like, be assertive by all means.
Yeah.
But like, if you start being really aggressive, like that's where it changes.
Yeah.
If you start being aggressive, that's when the whole situation
Because you're
changes.
putting yourself. It's like assuming you deserve to.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Both
That's
those
exactly
times,
right.
it looked like they were forcing themselves to be treated different to other people.
But what we have to take into account is when someone is being aggressive like that, they're being aggressive for a reason, and normally the reason they've been aggressive is because they've been stripped of their dignity and power,
and out of fear maybe as well.
Yeah, so they're scared of the situation. They've got no power or dignity because they're completely in other people's hands. And when they say they need something, no one's listening. So it doesn't happen in isolation.
No.
So, you know, all it really takes is a kind response.
Yeah.
And I think most things in life, a kind response pretty much sorts out the problem.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely.
But coming back to what Tim was saying, what I would say is if you have a bad experience with therapy, I've had a number of bad experiences with therapy. Either I thought the therapist was arrogant, as in they said this is the answer. I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me.
No. Is that because it's almost an assumption on their part?
It's an assumption on their part, or it just don't fucking make sense.
Doesn't piece together.
Simple.
But then you can't.
Or I don't like them.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes, and most things in life come down to a relationship.
Yeah.
So I think if you're having therapy and it's not working for you, the best thing to do is to be honest and say, "Can I see someone else?" And in most situations, if you go to Mind and say it's not working out, and they'll go, "Give it another go."
Yeah.
Tell them how you feel, so they actually know, and we'll try someone else.
In a funny way, the counsellor might also feel the same way.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not going to want to.
Exactly.
They will never turn around and go, right, this isn't working out for some reason.
They're not going to go, you've got a problem.
No.
Because you've come there because you've got a problem.
But if the connection isn't there, the connection isn't there. It's as simple as that.
So
it needs to be your space. It needs to be comfortable for you. Otherwise, you're not going to open up. Otherwise, you might as well just go and talk to someone on the end of the road.
Yeah. And if you can talk to someone on the end of the road, then brilliant.
Yeah, totally.
All that matters is you find someone who works for you. And the truth is, if it's not working for you, then you're better off being honest and saying, "Can I see someone else?"
100%.
But I say, like, if it don't work, don't give up on the concept of therapy.
No.
Because it just means it didn't work with that one person.
Therapy is everything and everywhere. There's so many different types.
I've had so many different therapists.
There's music therapy. There's animal therapy. You can go and cuddle a horse. It's the best thing ever.
I've had so many different therapies, and if I'm honest, like 10% have worked, but the 10% that worked saved my life.
Yeah. You never know.
It goes to show that you can meet a therapist that works.
Yeah.
And also the most important thing about therapy is that you have to go in there wanting it to work.
Oh yeah, it won't work unless you want it to work.
You can't go in there thinking, "Oh, who's this prick?"
No.
You have to go in there saying, "I am willing to make the effort," because you can't go to therapy and go, "Right, I'm going to do my hour, and then the rest of the week I'm going to live my life the same as I always did."
No, you need to change those daily habits.
You haven't done anything.
Yeah,
therapy's all about you.
Yeah.
So you have to go in with a therapist and saying, "Right, well, you've given me an hour of advice, or I've let go for an hour, and now what am I going to do?" You know, like, it's about the rest of the week. Yeah. It's not about the hour. It's about also, the other. How many hours in the week?
A lot. 24 times 7. I think it's taking the. Like, again, I know it's like the shittest answer to anything, but like all the answers are inside. And I think it just they need to be a guide to help you find out whatever answers you're looking for. But that's never to assume that you know what you're looking for. And 9 times out of 10, after 1 or 2 sessions, what you thought you went in there for is out the window, because you're straight into talking about mum and dad and school and relationships and everything else.
The times when therapies worked best for me were real crisis points when I'm like, I do not know what to do. I've used everything in my own capacity to sort it out, and it's all failed. So I'm at a point when I'm begging for anything.
Yeah.
At those points, you will listen to anything. And I kind of think you need to go into therapy like that.
Yeah.
So my advice to anyone who needs therapy to do that.
Yeah.
Go in there and don't assume you know better.
No, never. Anywhere in any walk of life.
Because you can learn something from everything and anything.
My mate Gary always says you should always walk into a room aiming to know as less as possible, because you will always have something to learn.
Yeah, it's true.
And you need to try and come away from situations. Oh, what's that thing? I see a really cheesy like action coach sort of quote the other day, but it was really spot on.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because you get those quotes, and like we were talking about doing our own mouth and Manliness memes.
Yeah.
Where we give advice, and I think like between us we've got a mountain of advice to give.
Yeah.
But also is that like I'll see quotes with a rainbow,
yeah,
and I'll think, fuck off, is it that simple?
Yeah. No, but some like I don't know. I'm always open. But
sometimes it is that simple.
Well, this one was like you're either I'm gonna fuck it up anyway, but it's like there's winning and I don't win or lose. No, in winning and losing, I never lose, because there's winning and learning. So if you learn from the loss, you don't lose. You're all winning, basically.
Yeah. Do you
get what I mean?
Yeah, no,
I don't know what the actual thing. Like Google it, whatever. Fuck, but
that's so true though. Don't be so arrogant to think that there's not shit to learn out there.
No, there's always something to learn.
You can learn something. You could talk to anyone and learn something. Like, as a human being, we know fuck all.
No.
We really know fuck all.
But you could speak to the same human being about the same thing every day, and you'd still learn something different.
Yeah, which brings me back to that kind of thing, and the idea that I was so closed to religion, and I don't like the organisation element of it, but I still think there's something to learn in.
Totally, yeah, definitely.
I don't like the idea. I don't like the idea of giving yourself over, but there's still shit to be learned there.
Yeah.
But so there was another comment on Facebook, which was, I shared it on Facebook, and it was very much about someone was saying that, these snowflakes, they talk too much, talking doesn't help. And then Brad Humble from Grum Reaper responded, and he'd had a lot of issues with anxiety. I don't think he'll mind me saying it. And he said that sometimes, I think essentially what he was saying is that you don't let the anxiety define you. And I agree with that.
Yeah.
Like I've had depression, I'm 43 now. Since I was 9, I think I became quite significantly depressed. And for me, like, the idea that I'm not a depressive was really, really hard to budge from, because that was very much like, that's who I am.
Like your label, almost.
Yeah. And like, I can't help it. I'm a depressive.
But then, like, what do you do in regards to walking into a room somewhere? Was that your script? Like, was that in your, when people go, hello mate, what's your name? Like, what do you do, kind of thing?
It wasn't. My script was basically, and I think this was Brad was getting at, really, was that I was, my script was, I'm not depressive. I'm not depressive.
Yeah.
I'm not
Like
fighting, I'm
juxtaposed the
fighting, I'm
other
fighting,
way,
I'm fighting.
yeah.
And I think essentially what he was getting at, and I do agree with what he was getting at, was that all the time you're going, I'm not. Actually, you're saying I am.
Yeah, you're still saying I'm. You're not saying like Weetabix, table,
So
seesaw.
rather than saying,
Is that an hour already? No way.
fucking hell.
Is that really? Yeah, actually, yeah, it is. That's gone well quick.
Hold on. We want guitars! We want guitars!
And t-shirts.
And t-shirts!
And caps.
Thank you for listening!
Thank you!
We love you!
We love you!
Let's try and be nice!
Be nice to everyone around you. Be nice, be nice, be nice, be nice.
Take care, everyone.
And each other.
Yeah. Let's just be nice. Fucking hell. Simple. Take care. Good night, Boston.
Love you, bye. Love you, bye.